सद्मा
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Bandho Muni Savadana Mate
दिलोजे यन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलोजे यन्मे प्रभु से ओ चक्षुदान दिलोजे यन्मे प्रभु से
नानो दिलोजे जन्मे प्रभु से
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति यह होते अविद्य विनाशयते
विनाश जाते
प्रेम भक्ति यह होते अविद्य विनाशयते
प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्य विनाश जाते
विधिकाय परचरितो
विधिकाय परचरितो
विधिकाय परचरितो
विधिकाय परचरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आतमय नर बंधु
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आतमय नर बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना प्रभु करो दया दे हमारे पादा छाया प्रभु करो दया दे हमारे पादा छाया प्रभु करो दया दे हमारे पादा छाया एबे आशुष त्रिभुवना एबे आशुष त्रिभुवना शिल प्रभुपाद पतित पवना प्रभुपाद पतित पवना शिल प्रभुपाद पतित पवना जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरु Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Teshatarine
Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Teshatarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Shikar. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Elder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Gauri next. Go Gauri. Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama.
Shikar. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Go, Gauri, go. Go, go, go. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shaker.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha Madhav Hari, Radha Madhav Hari Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Fast Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol,
Again, all together. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtadhara Sharta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtadhara Sharta Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Primsako Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vedakada Shiva Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giti Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Madhav Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Poornima Ki
Jai.
Happy Gaur Poornima, everyone.
Please go on. Today's Danda Schools class today. I don't think joining it. So please continue with the feedback.
Okay, yeah, just send a Zoom chat message when we need to stop. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Shri Gaur Poornima Mahamahotsav Ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. So, Dhanraj Prabhu, would you like us to Gemla's team to recite Jai Radha Madhav, or would you like to do by yourself? Either is okay.
Well, that sounds great. I think everyone would like to hear you all.
Okay. So, we'll do me, Shikar, Haladar, Gauri. Okay?
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Okay. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari,
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya
Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha
Madhava
Jaya
Kunja
Bihari Haladar
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha
Jaya Girivaradari Gauri Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana
Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana
Haribol.
Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja
Gauri Tiravanachari Jaya
Bihari
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe
Jaya Rama
Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Shout all the way back to Goloka Vrindavan. Again, all together, all together. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Thank you, Jamula's team. That's such a special thing to feel like we're in a live kirtan again and to be able to sing in real time. Happy Gaur Poornima to everybody. Today, we're going to be reading from the Chaitanya Bhagavata principally, but to justify why we're going to be reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata, figured that we could read a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that explains why it's okay, in case we don't know. Narottam Vilas Prabhu, may I share my screen now?
Yes, please, Prabhu.
Thank you. Okay. So this is from the 12th canto, chapter 4, verse 40. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavatir naishtiki Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the 12th canto, 4th chapter, which is titled The Four Categories of Annihilation. And this is verse 40. Samsara sindhumati dushtaramuti tirshor Nanya plavo bhagavata purushotamasya Lila katarasa nishevanamantарena Pumso bhave divida dukkha davarditasya. Samsara sindhu mati tushtaramuti tirshor Nanya plavo bhagavata purushotamasya Lila katara sharishevanamantарена Pumso bhave divida dukkha davarditasya. Would anyone like to repeat?
संसार सिंधुम अतिदुस्तरम उतितीर्सोर नान्याप्लवो भागवतः पुरुषोत्तमस्य लीलाकथारसनिसेवनम् अन्तरेण पुंसो भवेद् विविध दुःखदवादितस्य. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
संसार सिन्धुमति दुस्तरम् उत्तितीर्षो नान्यप्लवो भगवतः पुरुषोत्तमस्य लीलाकथारसनिषेवणम् अन्तरेण पुंसो भवेद् विविधदुःखदवार्तितस्य.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Samsar sindhumati dustaramati tirishoro Nanya plava bhagavata purushottamasya Lila katara sanishevanam antarena Pumso bhaved vidha dukkadvar aditasya.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. The word for word translation, samsara, of material existence, sindhum, the ocean, ati dushtaram, impossible to cross, uti tirshaho, for one who desires to cross, na, there is not, anyaha, any other, plavaha, boat, bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, purusha utamasya, the supreme Lord, lilakata, of the narrations of the pastimes, rasa, to the transcendental taste, nishevanam, the rendering of service, antarena, apart from, pumsaha, for a person, bhavet, there can be, vividha, various, dukkha, of material miseries, dava, by the fire, arditasya, who is distressed. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. For a person who is suffering in the fire of countless miseries and who desires to cross the insurmountable ocean of material existence, there is no suitable boat except that of cultivating devotion to the transcendental taste for the narrations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's pastimes. I would like to remark before we read how similar this is to the first verse of the Samsara Dava prayers. We have the mention of the fire of material existence and how only that which descends is able to cool the burning sensation. And so in the Sri Guru Vastakam, it's the spiritual master is descending to calm or quell or extinguish the fires of material existence. And in here is a Lila Kataha. But we know that Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastraya, later we find that there's no difference between the function of the spiritual master and Krishna. So I thought that this was also nice because of that. We see where the acharyas are or how the acharyas are basing everything they say off Shastra. Purport. Although it is not possible to completely describe the pastimes of the Lord, even a partial appreciation can save one from the unbearable miseries of material existence. The fever of material existence can be removed only by the medicine of the holy name and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which are perfectly narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam. One time, a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada if they could see the story of Joan of Arc as Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada said, of course. Bhagavata means anything to do with the person, Bhagavata, the devotee, or the person, the supreme person. So he wanted us to expand our vision to see that any pastime that has to do with the Supreme Lord, Krishna, in any way that he presents himself and the way that his devotees interact with him in that manner of presentation, that should be taken as Bhagavatam. Not that we need that concession, because the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata is composed by the same author of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedavyasa himself, in the form of Sri Vrindavana Das Thakur. And so I've been thinking that today is a very special day, and whatever I would like to dedicate this reading to Rasaraj, who was born in the protection in between the appearances of Sri Nityananda Ram and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a very auspicious beginning to life to appear in the protection and shelter of these two very great personalities. And so I feel like it's similar to the way that Krishna was blessed by his mother, that Narayan would protect him. You know, what are the blessings to the child of a devotee? Who could give a blessing? What greater blessing would there be than that? And also, finally, the person that named him, His Holiness, Srila Jayapataka Swami, once said that he would consider it his great fortune that he would be able to appear in the house after this birth of a family that had these books, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, all of Prabhupada's books. And so the appearance of this new congregation member has gotten me to realize how we're really doing service for the future, in a sense, and really doing service to ourselves by taking care of children and teaching children, because they will likely be, our parents later, or likely be our gurus later. And so all of this reading and all of this, I hope, goes to Rasaraj. So, put a little video together. Let's see, my screen sharing is paused. Let's new share. Let's share this one now. We put a little bit of a video, a slideshow together. And so let's see if this works. We are reading from Adi Kanda, chapter 5. The Brahmin feeds Nimai. All glories to the Supreme Personality, Sri Vishvambar, Lord Chaitanya. He is the Supreme Lord of all lords, and his feet are decorated by the marks of a flag, lightning, and elephant goad. The Supreme Lord performed various transcendental pastimes while residing in the house of Jagannatha Mishra. One day, Sri Jagannath Mishra called his dear son Vishvambar and told him, "Bring my book." Nimai hastened to the house when he heard his father's call, and as he moved his feet, jingled loudly with the sound of ankle bells. Sri Jagannath Mishra inquired, where is the tinkling of ankle bells coming from? Both he and his wife, Srimati Shachi Devi, searched all around. My son does not wear ankle bells on his feet, so from where does this sweet sound of ankle bells come? How extraordinary is this? The father and mother considered the incident, but remained speechless with surprise. After bringing the book, the Lord ran off to play. The parents saw another wonder when they entered their house. All over the house, they saw wonderful footprints with different symbols such as the flag, lightning bolt, goad, and festoons. Both were thrilled with delight, and their eyes brimmed with tears as they examined the footprints. They offered obeisances to the lotus footprints and said, "We shall surely be liberated. No more births." Sri Jagannath Mishra requested his wife, "Please listen, O mother of Vishvarupa, cook a nice sweet preparation with ghee. In the morning I shall bathe our house deity Sri Damodar Shalagram Shila with Panchagavya, the 5 substances from the cow: milk, yogurt, ghee, cow urine, and cow dung. I believe that the sound of ankle bells actually came from the feet of our Shalagram Shila deity as he secretly moved around the house." Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata felt great happiness as they worshipped the Shalagram Shila, and Lord Chaitanya smiled within. Now, please hear another wonderful pastime of Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sri Jagannath Mishra. A very pious Brahmin was visiting different places of pilgrimage to satisfy the Supreme Lord Krishna. He worshipped Lord Krishna by chanting the Gopala mantra consisting of 6 syllables, and he would not eat anything other than the remains of food he had offered to Sri Gopala. After visiting many pilgrimage sites, the fortunate Brahmin eventually came to the house of Lord Chaitanya. As a person of incomparable purity, he was enveloped in great spiritual effulgence. He carried a deity of Bal Gopal and a Shalagram Shila around his neck as his most wonderful possessions. With half-closed eyes, the Brahmin would constantly chant the name of Krishna, and deep in his heart, he tasted the nectar of love of Govinda. Seeing this radiant personality, Jagannatha Mishra stood up out of respect and then offered his obeisances. The most respectable Sri Jagannatha Mishra did everything to properly look after his esteemed guest. He personally washed the guest's feet and offered him a fine, elevated seat. Once the Brahmana was seated comfortably, Sri Jagannatha Mishra inquired, "Where is your place of residence?" The Brahmin replied, "I am disinterested in worldly affairs, so I travel throughout the different lands. I roam because of my restless mind." Sri Jagannatha Mishra said respectfully, "It is the good fortune of the world that you travel everywhere. I especially feel most fortunate today, so please permit me to prepare your cooking." The Brahmin replied, "Dear Mishra, do as you please." Happily, Sri Mishra made extraordinary and wonderful arrangements. Sri Mishra had the kitchen thoroughly cleansed and then arranged for all the cooking ingredients to be brought. The Brahmin cooked to his full satisfaction and sat down to offer all the preparations to Sri Krishna. Sri Shachinandan Chaitanya is the super soul within everyone's heart. He had decided to show himself to the Brahmin. The Brahmin had just begun his meditation when the Supreme Lord Sri Gaura Sundar appeared in his presence. He stood there naked, his entire form covered with dust. He was the color of the sun with beautiful hands and feet. Smiling, he took a handful of food from the Brahmin's offering and ate it while the Brahmin looked on. Although favored by good fortune, the Brahmin called out, "Alas, alas, this restless boy has stolen the food meant for offering." When Sri Jagannath Mishra came, he saw that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Gaura Sundara, was happily smiling and eating the rice offering. Intending to beat the Lord, an angry Mishra chased after him, but the Brahmin stood up fearfully and caught hold of Mishra's hand. The Brahmin said, "My dear Mishra, you are a respectable and knowledgeable person, but what knowledge does this little boy have? What will beating him accomplish? It is one thing to beat a person who can reason right from wrong, but I forbid you to beat this boy." Feeling miserable, Sri Mishra sat down holding his head. He did not speak a word, nor did he lift his head. "Do not feel sad, dear Mishra," said the Brahmin. "The Supreme Lord certainly knows everything that happens at all times. Please, bring whatever fruits or vegetables you have in the house. I shall simply eat that today." Sri Mishra said, "If you kindly consider me your servant, then let me arrange for you to cook again. I shall only be satisfied when you cook once again. I have all the necessary ingredients for cooking in the house. The other friends and relatives in the house also implored the Brahmin to cook again. Since you all desire it, agreed the Brahmin, I shall cook every preparation again. Everyone was satisfied that he had agreed, and they again cleansed the cooking place for him. They quickly gathered the cooking ingredients, and the Brahmin began to cook. However, some people warned the Brahmin that the restless child might spoil the offering again. Take the child to another house and keep him there until the Brahmin has completed his cooking and eating, they told Shachimata. Therefore, Shachimata carried her child to a neighbor's house. The young ladies all teased, Hey Nimai, is this the way you should act? Stealing the Brahmin's food? With a smile on his exquisite moon-like face, Lord Chaitanya replied, What is my fault? The Brahmin called me. Then they objected, Oh Nimai, will you do more mischief now that you have lost your caste? Who knows this Brahmin? From where does he come? And who are his family? How can you maintain your caste after having eaten food cooked by him? Smiling, Lord Chaitanya replied, I belong to the cow tender's caste. I accept food prepared by Brahmins all the time. How does a cow tender lose his caste by eating a Brahmin's food? Saying this, the Lord looked at everyone with a smile. The Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya used this trick to explain to them the truth about himself, but his illusory potency is so perfect that no one could understand him. As they carried him about, the various residents of the neighboring houses enjoyed the child's arguments. The Lord went joyfully from arm to arm, and whoever held him floated in an ocean of bliss. In the meantime, the Brahmin cooked once again and sat down to make an offering to Lord Balagopala. While offering, the Brahmin thought of Lord Balagopala, but Lord Gaurachandra, the super soul, knew everything. Lord Chaitanya charmed everyone and then left their presence completely unnoticed. Smiling all the while, he went to the spot where the Brahmin was offering food. Stealthily, Lord Chaitanya put a handful of rice into his mouth and left. The Brahmin, caught by surprise, looked on in disbelief. The Brahmin raised a loud alarm. Alas! Alas! The child ate his rice and sprinted off. Sri Mishra angrily grabbed a stick and chased after young Nimai. Lord Nimai fled in dread and hid himself in a room, but Sri Mishra came after him, roaring in a fury. Sri Mishra said, You shall see today. Act in this mischievous manner, will you? Although I am cultured and knowledgeable, you think I'm a great fool. Sri Mishra continued, In whose house can you find as big a thief as this? With rising indignation, he chased after Nimai. The people in the house caught hold of Sri Mishra to dissuade him, but the angry father insisted, Leave me. Today I shall beat him. They tried to reason with him. Dear Mishra, you are known to be liberal. What superior intelligence will you display by beating him? His sense of discrimination between good and bad is still undeveloped due to his tender age. And only a very foolish person would beat such a small child. By nature, children are restless. It is untrue that one can teach them by beating them. The pilgrim hurriedly rushed to the scene and caught hold of Sri Mishra's hand. Respected sir, please hear me. The young boy is not at fault. Whatever is destined to occur on a certain day must happen. I am not destined to have Lord Krishna's rice offerings today. This is the confidential truth of this matter. Sri Jagannatha Mishra hung his head in dejection, and because of his perturbed mind, he could not look at anyone. At that moment, Vishvarupa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the abode of spiritual effulgence, arrived upon the scene. His entire form was so charming that no beauty in the 14 worlds could match it. He stood there, an embodiment of all spiritual potencies, a Brahman's thread across his shoulders. He appeared as the identical expansion of Lord Nityananda himself. Vishvarupa was always engaged in explaining the prime essence of all scriptures, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Enchanted by his exquisite form, the pilgrim Brahmin stared at him with a gaping mouth. Who is the father of this extraordinary personality? Asked the Brahmin. He is the son of Sri Mishra, came the reply. The Brahmin embraced Vishwarupa in extreme joy, saying, "Virtuous are the parents of such a son." Sri Vishwarupa sat down after offering obeisances to the Brahmin and began speaking nectarine words which flowed like a stream. The day turned auspicious, and our house was blessed with great fortune when you came as a guest, said Vishwarupa. You are constant and happy within yourself. You travel everywhere simply to sanctify the earth. It is our immense fortune that we have a guest like your good self, but at the same time I feel very unfortunate that you have had to go without eating. If a guest in a house must fast, then the house will inevitably fall victim to aspersions and inauspiciousness. I feel immense pleasure upon seeing you, but it pains me greatly to hear about all that has occurred here. The Brahmin said, "Please, do not feel sorry. I shall eat some fruits and vegetables. I am a forest dweller. I cannot get rice or cook food in the forest, so I live mostly on fruits, roots, and vegetables. I seldom eat rice, only if it comes my way without endeavor. I feel I have eaten 1,000,000 times over simply from the pleasure of seeing you. Please go and bring whatever you have in the house, fruits, vegetables, offerings, and I will eat them now." Extremely depressed, Sri Jagannatha Mishra simply sat holding his head between his hands, not replying to anyone. Sri Vishwarupa said, "Sir, you are a magnanimous ocean of mercy, yet I feel hesitant to ask you something. Saintly persons by nature feel distressed at others' suffering and are always ready to expand others' feelings of joy. With a little endeavor, you can cook a nice offering for Lord Krishna. This will dispel all the miseries of my family today, and I will feel maximum pleasure and happiness." The Brahmin said, "I already cooked twice, yet Lord Krishna did not allow me to eat. So I can understand I am not destined to eat today. This is Lord Krishna's desire, so why should I make such an endeavor? One may have unlimited foodstuff in the house, but one may eat only if Krishna allows. One may endlessly try for something, but if Lord Krishna does not desire it, one will be unsuccessful. It is now past 1:30 in the night, going on 2 o'clock. Is it appropriate to start cooking this late? Therefore, please do not make any further arrangements for cooking. I will simply eat some fruits and vegetables." Sri Vishwarupa replied, "There is nothing wrong with the time. Everyone will be pleased if you cook." Sri Vishwarupa then caught hold of the Brahmin's feet, and everyone in the house entreated him to cook again. The Brahmin was charmed by Sri Vishwarupa, and he agreed to cook. Everyone uttered Sri Hari's name in joy, and yet again cleansed the place for cooking. They cleansed quickly, and meanwhile the necessary ingredients for cooking were brought. The respected Brahmin then proceeded to cook, and everyone kept the child at a secure distance. Sri Mishra posted himself at the Sri Mishra posted himself at the doorway of Nimai's room. "Tie the doors to the room from the outside so that he cannot escape," suggested someone. Good, agreed Sri Mishra. That is a good plan. Tie the doors from the outside and we will remain out here. The ladies inside Nimai's room said, "Don't worry, Nimai is fast asleep. There's nothing more he can do." The child was kept away in this manner, and in a short while the Brahmin finished cooking. That pious Brahmin then prepared an offering plate filled with the things he had cooked, and he sat down to offer everything to Lord Krishna through his meditation. Nimai, the son of Shachi Mata, knew everything because he is the super soul within everyone's heart. He desired to appear before the Brahmin and reveal himself. By the Supreme Lord's will, Nimai enchanted everyone, and they slept deeply. A special picture for this. There we go. Sri Shachinandana appeared in the place where the Brahmin was offering his rice to the Lord. When the Brahmin saw the young boy Nimai, he raised an alarm, but no one heard him. They were all in a deep sleep. Nimai, the Supreme Lord, said, O Brahman, you are known to be a magnanimous soul. You called for me, so I came. Why should I be blamed for this? You chanted mantras to invoke me. You beckoned me. Therefore I came to you. How could I resist? You incessantly meditate on me, so I decided to appear before you. At that moment, the Brahmin saw a wonderful sight. The Supreme Lord stood before him in his 8-handed form, holding in 4 of his hands the 4 symbols: conch shell, disc, mace, and lotus. With 2 other hands he held and ate butter, and with the last 2 hands he played the flute. The Brahmin saw the Lord's entire form decorated with gem-studded ornaments. His breast was marked with Lakshmi Devi's sign of Srivatsa, and the priceless Kaustuba jewel hung brilliantly from a gem-studded necklace. His head was decorated with fresh forest flowers that circled his peacock feather. His rosy red lips, like the rising sun, set off his softly glowing moon-like face. His pink lotus petal eyes smiled sweetly as his knee-length Vajayanti flower garland and his exquisite shark-shaped earrings swayed delicately. His feet were like blossoming lotus flowers, decorated with gently tinkling gem-studded ankle bells. The luster from his delicate pearl-like nails dissipated the darkness. The Brahmin saw the surroundings transformed into Vrindavanadam. The wonderful Kadamba trees became clamorous with the chirping of birds. Cowherd boys and girls roamed about on their own, and everything was exactly as he had seen it in his meditation. Overcome with ecstasy at seeing such extraordinary display of opulence, the pious Brahmana fell unconscious. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Gaurasundara, who is an ocean of mercy, placed his transcendental hand on the Brahman's body. He regained consciousness by the Lord's touch, but the Brahmin was still speechless and inert with overwhelming joy. Repeatedly he fell, swooning to the ground, sometimes getting up and sometimes falling. He was moved by great upsurges of spiritual emotion, overcome by shivering, perspiration, and horripilation. He was unable to remain patient. Tears flowed as freely as the mother Ganga. The Brahmin caught hold of the Lord's feet and cried loudly for some time. Acknowledging the Brahmin's devotion, the Supreme Lord Sri Gaurasundar spoke a few words with his enchanting smile. The Supreme Lord said, O learned Brahmana, please listen. In many past lives you were my servitor. You have always meditated upon me, therefore I have come to show myself to you. In my previous incarnation, I appeared to you in the house of Maharaj Nanda, in this very form, but you have forgotten. In my previous incarnation, Krishna, I appeared in Gokula Dham. And in that lifetime, you were making pilgrimages to holy sites, and with sincere spiritual fervor. By divine arrangement, you came as a guest to Nanda Maharaja's house and offered me your foodstuffs. In that encounter, we also exchanged affections, just as we are doing now. I ate your offerings then, as I have done again tonight. You are my servant, birth after birth. Therefore, I have appeared before you. No one other than my servants can see me as I am. I am entrusting these confidential topics to you. Do not reveal them to anybody. As long as my present incarnation remains upon this earth, if you reveal my identity, I shall immediately finish your body. I have made my appearance where the congregational chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name has already begun, and I will initiate the propagation of that chanting throughout the world. I will freely distribute to every house the process of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which is so fervently desired even by Lord Brahma and other elevated personalities. Remain with us for some time to come, and you will see many pastimes, but you are strictly forbidden to describe these esoteric matters to anyone. After pacifying and showering his mercy upon the Brahmin, the Supreme Lord Gaur Sundara returned to his room. He lay down like a child in his previous sleeping posture. No one had been aware of anything because of the deep slumber caused by the Lord's mystic potency. The pious Brahmin was filled with great exhilaration after seeing the extraordinary manifestation of the Lord's mystic potency. The pious Brahmin was filled with great exhilaration after seeing the extraordinary manifestation of the Lord. He smeared the transcendental rice all over his entire body and then ate it while crying incessantly in ecstasy. He danced, sang, laughed, and made loud roaring sound while continuously shouting, "Jai Bal Gopal! Jai Bal Gopal!" The Brahmin's loud roars awakened the residents of the house, so he quickly restrained himself from further outbursts of spiritual emotion and cleansed his body. The Brahmin ate without worry, and this immediately pleased everyone. The Brahmin considered telling everyone what he knew. Let them know that the Supreme Lord is amongst them. That way they can all be liberated. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is desired by and offered prayers by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, has now appeared in the family of a Brahmin. However, the Brahmin remembered the Lord's instruction not to reveal anything to anybody. Afraid to disobey the Lord, he did not speak to anyone. The Brahmin now knew the Lord's real identity, but the household residents were unaware that the Brahmin had this extraordinary knowledge. Happily, the Brahmin took up residence near the Lord. He begged alms from many different places, but each day he returned to see the Supreme Lord. Such wonderful pastimes of the Lord are revealed in the Vedic literatures. If one hears these topics, one receives the complete shelter of Lord Sri Krishna. The Adi Kanda is full of nectarine topics. It describes how the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan performed playful pastimes, acting as though he were a mere child. The Supreme Lord Sri Gaura Sundara is the crest jewel of the 14 worlds and the Supreme Lord of Vaikuntha, of the Vaikuntha planets that lie beyond this material world. He is Lord Narayan, the husband of Lakshmi Devi. He is Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Sita Devi. In Treta Yuga, Gaura Sundara appeared as Lord Rama with his younger brother Sri Lakshmana, Lord Nityananda. He performed various extraordinary pastimes and killed the great demon, King Ravan. In Dwapara Yuga, he appeared as Lord Krishna with Shankarsha and Balaram, performing many wonderful pastimes. The two lords alleviated the weight of sin in the world. Throughout the Vedas, the two supreme personalities, Lord Mukunda, Krishna, and Lord Ananta Shesha, Balaram, are glorified. Be without doubt that these two supreme personalities have now appeared as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. I, Vrindavana Das, offer this humble song at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, who are my very life and soul. All glories to Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. All glories to His Grace Sarva Bhavana Prabhu, who translated. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Gaur Poornima ki. Sri Gaur Poornima ki. Sri Gaur Poornima ki. Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for allowing me to read. I think that what has been said today is sufficient. If anyone has anything to share, what pastimes you like, I feel the rest of the time can just be kata. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Dhanraj Prabhu, for both the video and the recitation. We have some time, so if devotees would like to share or have questions, please do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dandashpur, thank you so much. It's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. And I love the way you connected these two verses to Srimad Bhagavatam verse, which explains the importance of the you know the importance of reading the pastime, understanding the pastimes, and the effect of reading, understanding the pastimes, and how it connected to one of the most beautiful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So thank you so much for narrating this, Prabhu, and the audio visual was amazing. Immerse our eyes. Nayana Abhiram, just enjoy seeing through our eyes and enjoy through our ears. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for that. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah, the philosophy is very nice. I suppose I can, I do want to open it up, but I'll speak a little. That sometimes we say that our philosophy is second to none, right? Because it's and that's not a sectarian claim. It's just that if somebody has a philosophical understanding of the world, Prabhupada defined Muni as a person that can bend their mind to see the truth in a different way, but that all Munis have to differ from each other to technically be a Muni. And this is true even today. To graduate with a philosophy degree in college, you have to write a philosophical thesis that's unique. You can't just, write, I think, therefore I am. I think duality is a good way to explain the world. Duality is, that's already happened. So you have to do something else. But Prabhupada explains that Narada Muni is a different kind of Muni because he's done bending his mind to see the world in a different way. He's arrived at the conclusion that he's finished bending his mind. But why is he still called a Muni? Because no Muni can defeat him, because he sees the conclusion that Krishna and devotional service to Krishna and our relationship to Krishna through devotional service is the perfection of philosophy. So that's not a sectarian statement. It's just that the conclusion of knowledge is to know that we are all connected to the Supreme Person through our own personal services. And as you can see, it's eternal. Mahaprabhu said that this Brahmin had done the same thing in Nanda Maharaj's house. And as Krishna confirms in the Bhagavad Gita, I can remember all my births, but you cannot. So when the philosophy is very nice, but sometimes we wonder why are there so many other different religions, and it's because they have pastimes also. They may not have the flushed out philosophy that the Jnana Kanda portion of the Vedas, or how meticulous Sankhya is. The Buddhists also have like an interaction of the objects of the senses with the actual senses, and how that interacts, and how that gives rise to sense perceptions and things like that. But you can see that pastimes exist everywhere. That the pastimes of the Lord with his devotees, this is the essence of all scriptures. So the Quran is retelling how a prophet came to these conclusions. The Bible there's 4 books that are all about the same amount of time of Jesus's life from different perspectives. And we have the same thing. We have, how many biographies have been written of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So the pastimes are so important because we realize that, as the Vedas themselves say, that above jnana and above karma is like the person, is bhakti. And so the philosophy is very good, and we begin with it, but we end at this point of just seeing the philosophy manifest. We see that Krishna says, I remember all my births and you cannot. Krishna actually says that. You did this in Nanda Maharaj's house. And then we also see Krishna's perfectly reciprocating. You called me. You invoked me. Why are you getting upset now? It's not, it's not compatible. And we see how he's conquered by love. I saw recently, just to make sure that I get the quote properly, Srila Prabhupada said something about this. I can't see the quote now, but it said something along the lines of, as the sun is naturally hot, as the earth is naturally tolerant, as the ocean is naturally deep, and as the devotees are naturally grave, Sri Krishna is naturally controlled by love. So you see, he's getting chased around by his father. He's getting locked in a room. And what does this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam say? It says that for one who is suffering in the fire of countless miseries and who desires to cross the insurmountable ocean of material existence. So, maybe we're not, maybe I'm not the seeker of absolute truth. Like Krishna says, there's 4 people that approach me. Maybe I'm not the seeker of absolute truth, which Prabhupada says is the greatest, because they want nothing. And maybe I'm not the curious person, and, maybe I'm not the person that, maybe I want money, but definitely I'm the person that's suffering. And this is for that person, for a person who is suffering and who desires to cross over or to finish with that suffering. There is no suitable boat except that of cultivating devotion to the transcendental taste. It's interesting because it's not, cultivating devotion for the actual pastime, it's something deeper than that. It's cultivating devotion to the taste. So that's the culture of reading it amongst, it's not just reading the pastime, it's doing it among devotees and realizing how much you're indebted to all the devotees that produced it. We know who Vrindavan Das Thakur is. We know how much more relishable it is to read. It feels like my reading is actually being accepted by all of you because it feels enjoyable. I know that I've read this on my own and it feels like I'm studying, but now it feels like I'm sharing. And hopefully you're receiving, and this is another exchange of love. And so this is the taste of Krishna Katha. And today is the day that Sri Krishna Chaitanya decided to appear to reveal his pastimes to us, which are very esoteric. But what we understand is that the masculine controller aspect of God, the supreme enjoyer Krishna, is desiring to feel what it's like to be the supreme servitor, the supreme pleasure-giving aspect of God. And so he's wanting to know what it's like to be his devotee because he's curious about that. And so we're seeing that there, aham bija pradapita, Krishna says that he is the supreme father. So our supreme spiritual father is also curious about things and also desires to learn what it's like to be a devotee. And as his children, we're all heir to that same curiosity. Now, I'm curious as to what it's like to be a devotee. Prabhupada mentions it, and he's enchanted all of us with what it's like to be a devotee and what it's like to really serve Krishna and to maybe see him and be able to render some service. And even if we don't render service to him right now, we can do it for his devotees. So today is a very special day. Who would be here if it wasn't for Mahaprabhu? And who would be here if it wasn't for the Goswamis and ultimately for Srila Prabhupada? Who would be here? So today is also a celebration of the spiritual master descending and giving us this knowledge. It's a very it's an eternal day. We're only going to notice that it lasts 24 hours. We'll only be awake for maybe 16 or 18, but it's actually an eternal day. And we're having a chance to put our feet in the ocean of what this eternal day is like. And I hope that it's, great for everybody. Yeah, I hope that it's great for everybody. And that we all, maybe next Gaur Poornima, we can be together in person. And so the Jamulus group can be disbanded and then reunited in person.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your appreciation for the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his loving devotees. It's a very profound exchange between the Brahmana and Mahaprabhu. So thank you for enlivening it and giving us a taste for it through your own appreciation. and the beautiful reading. So, like Prabhu said, there'll be online kirtan coming up at 10 a.m. and then lecture at 11:30, and then shifting to visitations of the temple starting around 1, and then Abhishek at 5:30 to 6:30, with prasadam to go, hopefully available around 5:30, and then Gaur Arati at 7:30. And we're normally used to being there throughout the entire process, but because of COVID and respecting the importance of keeping devotees safe, we still will follow COVID guidelines.